Before we go over to Malaysia, please subscribe to our channel.
Kuala Lumpur, state capital of Malaysia and the start of the 13th Rally of Malaysia, the fourth round of the FIA Asia Pacific Rally Championship. In spite of the Rally of Australia, a World Championship event taking place only a week ago, the top three Asia Pacific contenders have made it to the start. With no previous experience in Malaysia, Rod Millen, driving a four-wheel drive Mazda 323, faces a daunting task to overhaul the Mitsubishi team of Shinazuka and Dunkerton. Dunkerton won driving a Ford in 1987, but retired last year. Championship leader Kenjiro Shinazuka.
I hope this event to win, because if we win this event, much good advantage. So I hope this event win.
The monsoon rains have come early this year, causing additional problems.
In Malaysia now, every day, every night, rain, heavy rain. I don't like wet condition. I prefer dry condition.
However, favourite to win must be Ross Dunkerton.
You never feel confident in rallies, and there's about 40 or 50 people out there that can win, but probably, of course, Rod Millen from the United States is probably one of the cars that will be running well. Of course, there is also Tunku Mahalil in the other Mitsubishi Galant, Endo-san from Japan, and of course Kenjiro Shinazuka, who is my teammate. So if all the cars keep going and all keep at the same sort of pace that they should, there's probably 7 or 8 cars that could win this event.
Following his second place in New Zealand, Rod Millen will lead the field away.
Really good. This is our first time to Malaysia, and the roads are very demanding. We've checked out some of the roads down to the south, and I think they're a little more suitable to us. Some of the roads to the north are very slippery, very rough. I think this is going to be a very tough event.
With the chances of sudden downpours, the conditions on the special stages may change dramatically. This could favour the local crews. Tengku Mahalil.
We would know where are the real danger points when it rains. And I think over the last 1 week or so, certain parts of the terrain have not rained. It's been rather dry. And for those who are not familiar with that part, and if it rains on that particular day, if you go flat out, I think there will be a danger.
With 6 crews from Japan and a similar number from Australia, 8 from Indonesia and 1 each from Singapore, Thailand and the Philippines, the field has a true Asian flavour. Dato Subaridin Chik, Minister of Culture and Tourism, waves the first car away, Rod Millen and Tony Searcombe. The start of the action, Special Stage 1, the SAMP racing circuit at Shah Alam. In conditions very different from his practice, Rod Millen only manages 4th fastest. Last year the result couldn't have been closer. For almost the entire rally, Finland's Lassi Lampi led by a small margin. But during the last night section, Lampi went off. Up to the last stage he was second, but a sensational time on the final run gave him the win. Kenjiro's dislike of the wet conditions reflect on his stage time. He only manages 12th. No such dislikes for Ross Dunkerton. He ploughs on to clock a time 3 seconds less than Millen. Sonny Soprato's rally was to be short-lived. He'll put his Toyota Celica into a ditch on stage 6. However, it was up to the twice Australian champion Jeff Portman to set the early pace, taking fastest time on the stage and consequently lead the rally. Another crew whose rally wouldn't last until the second day, Jim Gleason's Nissan, would break a half shaft. Glenn Cuthbert driving the Ford team's Recce car after his own vehicle was delayed by the Australian strike. Driving the brand new 1.8 litre version Mazda 323, Indonesian Benny Kurnadi takes 8th fastest. As the light fades, Rod Millen's Mazda is first to hit serious trouble.
We had a transmission failure, so we just changed it now.
Did you lose much time?
Yeah, we lost a bit of time in the stage. I don't know how much, but we're going to take some road penalty here as well.
This gearbox change would cost Millen 7 minutes of road penalties, sufficient to drop him down to 7th position. However, obviously now with the bit between his teeth, Millen, together with Shinazuka and Dunkerton, would share the fastest times on the rest of the evening stages. This first leg would claim no less than 8 retirements, among them local Karamjit Singh. His Proton died with a loose wire in the ignition system. Another retirement after a good start was that of the sole tie entry, Farid Talib. He crashes out of the rally on special stage 3. Jeff Portman, more famous for earlier retirements on Malaysian one-day events, was continuing to score good stage times to consolidate 2nd place. And nobody was more surprised than Jeff himself.
Like I said, this is the furthest we've gotten into any event without any problems. We're particularly happy. In some cases, having a few cars in front does help because at least you can see where the corners are very slippery.
But Dunkerton was having his own problems.
Not too good. We've had a bit of a problem where the pipe came off the turbocharger, and we had to stop in the stage to repair it. So we have dropped a fair bit of time.
So, with 8 of the 36 stages completed, Shinazuka led by a comfortable margin of 3 minutes. That's for somebody who doesn't like the wet. Leg 2, and with the sun out, the conditions were changing rapidly. Now, first on the road, Kenjiro Shinazuka. In the drying conditions, Jeff Portman was still managing to keep in touch with a more powerful opposition. After his recent win on the Rally of Indonesia, Dunkerton was all out to repeat his success. But it was Rod Millen who was setting the early pace, taking the first stage by no less than 28 seconds. Keeping up with the leading pack in 5th place, Tengku Mahalil in the team Shell Mitsubishi. 1 place behind in 6th place, William May and Alan O. The pressure now on Shinazuka. He holds first place, but the gap's now less than 3 minutes. Also under pressure from his more powerful rivals, Jeff Portman maintains his 2nd place in the ageing Ford. The source of the main pressure, the 5-times Australian champion, Ross Dunkerton. He's still in 4th place, but takes fastest time on this stage by 9 seconds. With the road penalties he incurred from last night's gearbox change, Rod Millen is currently in 3rd position. Leading Malaysian driver Tengku Mahalil in the Group S Mitsubishi Galant. Just a minute behind Mahalil, fellow Malaysian and arch-rival William May. They both clocked the same time on this stage, which also sees the retirement of the only husband and wife team, Tadayuki and Makiko Sasa.
You can probably see it.
Toshiako Endo in the standard Galant. Leading the 2-wheel drive in the new 16-valve twin-cam Proton Saga, Henry Yap and Ron Tech. They're currently in 8th position. Indonesians Oki Harwanto and Dedi Sinalta holding 11th spot. At 27 kilometres, this is the 2nd longest stage and one of the fastest in the rally. Still with a 3-minute lead, things are looking good for Shinazuka. However, with his teammate Dunkerton clocking times 30 seconds faster than anyone else, he takes third place. Now back in fourth place, the 3 times New Zealand champion Rod Millen. Leading the showroom Group N category by no less than 8 minutes, Toshiaki Endo. He led the rally last year until the last stage and eventually finished second. The car accessories shop manager from Kelang in Malaysia, Henry Yap, maintaining his 8th place. Leading Indonesians, Lady Kurnadi and Teddy Kurnadi, currently in 9th place. Still in the lead by 3 minutes, the current Asia-Pacific champion, Kenjiro Lighting Shinazuka. Having come under pressure from the Mitsubishi Brigade, Jeff Portman has lost second place. Apart from the lack of power, he's now having transmission problems. So this now puts Dunkerton up into second place. He's now really flying, having taken fastest times on the last 3 stages. Despite his efforts, Rod Millen is in 4th place. After a successful career in his native New Zealand, Rod moved to California, where he's the current US national champion. Analysing the situation and studying the opposition is what Tengku Mahalil puts his success down to. Seems to be working. He's currently in 5th position. The hot sun has dried the majority of stages. However, there are many large pools of water to catch out the unwary. 6th place local William May is only too aware of these changing conditions. In the standard car Group N category, Endo pulls out all the stops and clocks 3rd fastest on this stage. In another Group N car, the Japanese crew of Yuzu Watanabe and Tsutoma Okanami are in 10th place. In a similar Group N car, Indonesians Boy Haryanto and Bambang Rajeki. And in yet another Mazda 323, the sole Philippine entrance of Jojo Silverio and Douglas Nazavero, currently in 14th position. Leading the small capacity class in a Suzuki Swift, Erwin Mancha and Rudy Madradi. In 15th overall, the second Proton Saga driven by Australian Tolly Challis. Glenn Cuthbert borrowed this showroom standard car from the Ford team when his car didn't arrive in time. Maybe the showroom doesn't look so close now. Malaysians Zakaria A. Rahman and Mohd Izwan in their Toyota Levin in 18th position. Leon Ong Lim and Kum Choi Lee in yet another Mazda. spite of the pressure from the opposition, Shinazuka is still leading the rally.
Today road is becoming dry. I prefer dry condition, but now very hot, more than 30 degrees centigrade. Everybody, almost driver tired.
Now up into second position, Ross Dunkerton.
The sections are still pretty slippery, and I'm trying to finish this rally, but Conjuro's going fairly quickly. But to finish this, you have to drive sensibly, and hopefully I'm driving sensibly.
Third place man, Rod Millen.
We haven't had quite the problems we had yesterday.
How's the terrain been treating you?
Good, challenging roads. You know, it's taking a little time to get used to them, but no, they're good roads.
Each of the teams had their own way of enjoying a roadside picnic. After regrouping, the rally moves to the south of Malacca. In the dry, Shinazuka still leads the rally. In the aging Ford, Jeff Portman has totally lost his four-wheel drive and must now rely on just the front. Yet another fastest time from Dunkerton. He's now 2.5 minutes behind his teammate. Playing a waiting game in third place is Rod Millen. He's now less than a minute behind Dunkerton. And another minute is all that separates fourth and fifth place. With fourth fastest on this stage, Mahalil looks poised to take fourth. Some 4 minutes behind Mahalil in sixth place, William May. He's now also suffering transmission problems. Toshiako Endo and his Malaysian co-driver Mej Zainuddin in seventh overall. Henry Yap drops nearly 2 minutes on this stage, but still maintains his 8th place. In the little Suzuki Swift GTI, Erwin Mancha in 16th place. In the second and slightly less powerful Proton Saga, Tolly Chalice takes 9th fastest on this stage and maintains his 15th place overall. Malacca Seafront, the last stage on the second leg in daylight. Most crews will be looking forward to the rest halt following this stage. First crew, Kenjiro Shinazuka. He almost comes to a halt after the water splash, but struggles to the finish. Ross Dunkerton in the similar specification Mitsubishi Galant. How will it take the water? Better than Shinazuka's, but still misfiring. Third place Rod Millen in the Mazda 323. How will this take the water? No problems with the waterproofing as he takes fastest for the stage. Tengku Mahalil. He now leads his fellow Malaysians by no less than 6 minutes, but the rally is little over halfway. William May and Alan O in the Ford TX3. Toshiaki Endo in the showroom Standard Galant takes second fastest on this stage. Leading Indonesian crew, Lady Kurnadi and Teddy Kurnadi will go into the rest halt in 9th place. While Yuzu Watanabe and Tsutomu Akanami will finish in 10th. Finishing this part of the rally in 11th place, the sole Philippine entrant, Jojo Silverio. Two o'clock in the morning and the start of the night section of leg 2. Ross Dunkerton would take the lead from his teammate Kenjiro Shinazuka and establish a lead by the end of the night. Millen, despite keeping the pressure on, finishes in 3rd. Perhaps the most unlucky competitor was Tengu Mahaleo. He went wide on a corner, put into reverse and dropped the car into a drainage ditch. No damage to the car, but that was the end of his rally. The start of the 3rd and final leg and more heavy rain. First car away, Ross Dunkerton. Bearing in mind Shinazuka's dislike of the rain, he must really be enjoying these conditions. Fastest by 18 seconds on this opening stage, Rod Millen. With the lack of four-wheel drive, Portman was trying everything he knew to fend off the challenge from Endo, some 8 minutes behind. However, sensing Portman's problem, Endo steps up the pace, hoping to capture the 4th spot. May, with the same transmission problem as Portman, now in 6th position. Henry Yap in the locally built Proton Saga now in a comfortable 7th place. In his second rally in Malaysia, Lady Kurnadi starts this leg in 8th spot. National Philippine Rally Champion in 1988 and 9, Jojo Silverio, currently in 9th position. After a hot and dry second leg, this third leg was definitely going to be wet. More gearbox problems for Shinazuka. He'll get 18 minutes of road penalties, which drops him to 3rd. Portman will nearly come to grief when he hits a tree fallen across the track. A short while after, teammate May hits the same tree. Both Fords survive, but just. Up at the front, the fastest times were being put up by Dunkerton and Millen. However, on special stage 28, Dunkerton drops a lot of time.
A small rubber hose came off the engine in that stage, and we dropped a lot of time, so we would have lost the lead by now.
Later in the night, Dunkerton will retake the lead. So, with one stage to go, only 1 minute and 40 seconds separate the top 2 crews. It looks as though Dunkerton's got it all sewn up. But the rally's not over yet, and any mistake could give Millen the lead. After the heavy overnight rain, the stage is rapidly drying. Despite taking the lead during the night, Rod Millen will have to settle for 2nd place. In his distinctly second-hand Ford, Jeff Portman drops another place and will finish in 5th spot. Despite climbing back up to 2nd place during the night after his gearbox change, Kenjiro Shinazuka will take 3rd. Group N winner by no less than 38 minutes, Toshiaki Endo. William May in the other second-hand Ford will take 7th. To the cheers of the local crowd, Henry Yap will take 6th position in one of the least powerful cars in the event. Tolly Chalice will take 12th place in the other Proton Saga. The small capacity showroom category class win goes to in Mancha and Rudy Madradi in the Suzuki Swift GTI. Some 18 minutes behind, Russell Palmer finishes second in the class, 16th overall. Second in the larger capacity showroom class will be Yozu Watanabe and Tsutomu Okanami. So near but so far, Boy Haryanto crashes within sight of the finish. So it's Ross Dunkerton for the second time who leads the processional parade back to Kuala Lumpur.
When you are leading, the pressure is always on you not to make a mistake, and I was trying very hard not to make a mistake, and of course Rod Millen had everything to gain, so he was trying very hard on the last two.
Can you put the win down to any tactics?
I know the country here fairly well, and we work to a plan on where we are prepared to go slow and where we are prepared to go fast when we know that it's safe, and that's what we were doing. We were waiting until we knew the stage was safe, and then we would try. If it was dangerous, we would slow down. So that's why our times were fast some, slow the next.
So you're leading the Asia Pacific Series, I believe, now?
Yes, from I think Kanjiro is Shinazuka is second, and Rod Millen is third.
The unique thing about rallying is that every event is different, and you know this was a very demanding, different type of an event, and it was a challenge to us, to our car. Our car came through well, and you know our whole team. So we really enjoyed it, and you know we learned a lot, and I think next year we'll be better prepared.
Kenjiro had an amusing incident when his seat broke.
Done that. Immediately seat is broken like this. Ooh, like this. But still continue another 6 kilo or 7 kilo.
So after nearly 1,400 kilometres of motoring, 36 special stages, the top honours go to Ross Dunkerton and Steve McKimmey, driving the Mitsubishi Galant VR4.
And Steve McKimmey of Australia.
We hope you enjoyed our motorsport from the past. Please subscribe to our channel.